Hey there, Nopenguin here, and Tidal, Dragon Ruler of Waterfalls, is back, and for a long time it has been my top, most requested card to come off the ban list. And while it hasn't found a comfortable home in Penguins as of yet, it has finally returned to its place of home. So join me as I show you the newly upgraded water pile we know and love. This is Mermails. And here is the list. Yes, this is my post-title unbanning Mermail list. Long live water. Now, for long-time viewers of the channel, you know this is not our first rodeo with this deck. I have been playing Mermails for nearly a decade now, so anytime we get things we can shove in a water box, I am here. And today, that treat is Tidal. I've made a lot of general overviews of this deck over the years, so I'm going to be a little conservative with my card by card, because I feel showing you it in action is much, much more important. But I will stop to show the changes we have made. For a more detailed explanation and seeing where we came from, here is my last Mermail video. Click on the card to take a look at that. And before we get into the card by card, if you love water decks and want to see me push them as far as they can, hit that subscribe button. I love the blue and nothing's going to stop me from playing it all. But with that, the card by card. Starting us off, we have our basics, our Moulin Glacia, Danger Ogopogo to help turn that Glacia into a Hope Harbinger, 1 MacLeod, 3 Abystis, 1 Gund, and the newly returned Tidal, as well as Baby Tidal. Now, on top of just being an awesome bit of water extension from the graveyard, the main thing that this brings to the deck is all 4 of these are additional discards that can power the Dragoons. Tidal states that if you discard this and a water monster, you can dump a monster from your deck to the graveyard. And Baby Tidal discards this and a water monster to special summon Tidal from the deck. Then our Atlanteans, we got Dragoons, Heavy Infantry, and Prince. We have the 1 Lapis Dragon for extension, and arguably the best card in the deck, Deep Sea Minstrel. And while I did go into detail with this card in my last video, I want to give it an extra special shout out now. Discard this card in a water monster, fucking look at your opponent's hand and take a card out of it till the end of the turn. It's amazing what this card can do for you. This can completely facilitate your plays, completely protect you, make sure you know what you're playing into, and on top of all that, you then trigger your Dragoons if you discard him. This is kind of information gathering that no other deck has, and I think it is the strongest advantage you have playing this deck. Continuing on, we have triple Deep Sea Diva and the 1 Deep Sea Sentry. This is a card that can be special summoned both off of the Diva and off of Gigantic Sprite directly from deck, and this states that when it's special summoned, take the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, find a level 4 or lower water monster in your graveyard, and add it to your hand. But also, if this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you can make your opponent banish a card from their hand until the end phase. Then we have the Nimble package, Triple Beaver, 1 Angler. On to our spells, we are playing Triple Deep Sea Aria. Banish a water in your graveyard to add any level 4 or lower Sea Serpent monster from your deck to your hand. Most often it's going to be our 1 card starter, Deep Sea Diva. And to start off the MacLeod, we have a Biscale with a Mizuchi. And finally, the Anti-Hand Trap Brigade. On top of Minstrel, we are also playing Triple Crossroad Designator, 1 Call by the Grave, and the 4 most devastating hand traps that aren't named Shifter. I want these cards to be useful in my deck as well, so if I just draw them off the top of my deck, there's still hand traps I can use. Shifter doesn't really fit that mold right now. Also, not a lot of decks are really maining it, so I don't see a need to have to main against it. That's something I'd put in the side deck and put into games 2 and 3. Onto the extra, we have Dragite, Excel Stardust, which helps us with our combo game, and Triple Yugioh Defender. Now this seems like a really weird inclusion, but let me tell you, this is awesome. When you're summoning our Deep Sea Diva and getting out our Atlantean Prince, that is a level 2 tuner and a level 1 non-tuner. Now in the past we'd be able to use this to go into Halka Fibrax, but without Halk now we only have a couple of good options, one of which being Sprite Sprint and the other being Yugioh Defender. Now what's really good about Yugioh Defender here is they have the effect that if all the monsters you control are a Earth Synchro Warrior, you can just special summon another one from the deck. So you go into your Deep Sea Diva, summon the Atlantean Prince, get a couple of Dragoons off, then you Synchro Summon into Yugioh Defender, get a second Yugioh Defender, and then get a third Yugioh Defender. And that leaves us with 3 monsters with the exact same level, which, using 2 of those, gets us into the Ahashima line. And then with the remainder one, we could use the Lapis Dragon we search later in the combo to go into one of our level 8 Synchros. It's a really good package and gives us a lot of extra advantage, and I love it. Back to some more regular things, we have Hope Harbinger, Biscayos, Bahama Toad, Gigantic Sprite, Ahashima, Sprint, Coral Anemone, AP, and SP. And on the side, you can just see a bunch of cards that I was fiddling with while making this deck. I saw a video from Shire Yugioh using Substitoad as something you would dump off of the Tidal to go into a triple Toad board, and that seemed like a lot of fun. But in this deck, the extra deck is super tight, and I just really prefer the yugioh method. But with that, let's go into the replays. Let me show you what this deck can do. Our first replay is up against Raw. Yeah, this is just a bit of a solitary replay. I just want to show you what the deck can do. So we use the Abysses here to actually discard the Dragoons to get our play starter. Then we're going to go Deep Sea Diva, summon out the Atlantean Prince. The Atlantean Prince dumps another Dragoons, adds the Dragoons to hand. Dragoons effect not once per turn. Lets me go ahead and search out Moon Glacier. We go into Sprint. Sprint, go ahead and send the Angler. Angler special summon out 2 Beavers. What's that? That's 5 waters. We go into Moon Glacier. Ditch 2 cards from their hand, then go into the Ahashima. Go and grab the Dragoons from the hand and the grave to go into Bahamut. Bahamut discard to go ahead and go into Toad, and that's the third activation of the Dragoons. We're going to go into Sprint, empty up a spot, Ogo Pogo, special summon itself out, so we can protect this Moon Glacier under the Hope Harbinger, and we actually draw the Abyss Megalo off the top, which is extra good. We're going to go into Abyss Gaios, activate Sentry. Sentry's going to grab us another card back to our hand. We're going to equip the Abyss Skills to the Abyss Gaios, go into IB Masquerade for an SP next turn, and end our turn. Now, of course, they draw that a little late. They go ahead and try to activate that, negates it off of the Mitsujuchi, and that is game. They had nothing they really could have done here, and I'm really glad they let me go off, because it really shows you what this deck can do without any interruption. Of course, even if they had the Droll and Lockbird, I did have the Crossout Designator, so in that hand, I had the ability to deal with one hand trap. Our next replay is up against Tri-Brigade Fire King Snake Guy. I get to go first, and I don't really open with any of my starters, but because I have the Angler in hand, I can discard it with the Minstrel to be able to get the effect off. Luckily, my Crossout can stop the Ash from going through, and I can go into the Gigantic Sprite right away. I'm actually locking myself into 2s really early. Sentry's going to go ahead and grab me the Beaver, and I didn't normal summon, so I get the Beaver again. Grabbing another Beaver from deck, we're going to go into IP, banish the SP here, just have something going on the board and end turn. They're going to get the Kieran off, special summon it out, the Grunix is going to come out in tow. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and use my IP Masquerade. Banishing that Grunix, I really don't want to deal with it here at this point. They're going to go into their Tri-Brigade plays, they're going to get Fairjeet. I decided I'm going to go ahead and banish Fairjeet as I feel like I don't want them to continue their plays, which is good because it is set the Revolt and pass. From here, I really didn't want to draw the third Crossout, but what are you going to do? I'm going to use the effect of our Gigantic Sprite just to stop them from summoning any of their Kirans or Garunixes from their hand, and I just get a little bit of damage in, but I really don't think that's enough, especially when they draw the Snash. So from here, they're going to be able to absolutely go off. They're going to Fractal, get all their Tri-Brigade stuff, so go and get their Karas, special summon itself, go ahead, banish 4 to go ahead and get our big boy. At this point, I'm going to SP, getting that off our field. They're going to get rid of the useless Crossout designated in the background, and then they're going to normal summon Snash. Snash grab popular. I'm sure you've seen this all a million times. I really can't believe they topped that. That was so annoying. But they're going to go ahead and get Burb out. Burb's going to go ahead and get a search. Popular's going to go back and set something to the back row. We're going to go in to get our Island. Island's going to go ahead and pop the Burb. Burb's going to go ahead and grab the Kieran. We're going to go ahead and smash into Oak. Oak's going to go ahead and grab the Popular back. Then we're going to go ahead and use the effect to get that and the Snash to go ahead into our Flame Burst. Flame Burst is going to go ahead, putting something in the extra deck, and then from here, they're just going to beat over my cards. I need anything to start my plays, and Gund is not it. So I go ahead and concede. Our next replay is up against Tempai, and I'm actually going to go first. They have a couple hand traps in hand. I'm going to go ahead, Diva into Prince to go ahead and grab ourselves our Dragoons. Dragoons are going to search out Moon Glacier. We're going to go into Goyo Defender into Goyo Defender, Goyo Defender into Goyo Defender. From here, I'm going to go to Ahashima, and they use the Impermanence here, which leaves me to a bit of an awkward spot. Luckily, I do have the Abyss Megalo to get me out of this pickle. I'm going to go ahead, discard that, get a Dragoons effect. They're actually going to destroy it, so I can't equip the Mizuchi to my guy, and I actually put a 6 card in my graveyard. Luckily, I have the Aria, so I can put it to 5, get a couple of cards out of their hand, and from here, we go Excel Synchro, bring back the Diva, go into a Hope Harbinger, go into Gigantic Sprite, gonna go ahead and grab ourselves our Sentry. Sentry's gonna drop 2, including a Dragoons, to grab back our Diva. Dragoons gonna go ahead and search out our Infantry, and we are gonna pass from here. Now, they only have, oof, that's really bad. I'm gonna stop their Terraform from going through, and they have nothing to contest. Our final replay is up against another Tingy player. This is one that I made go first because I just wanted to show this deck going second, and I got pretty much the best deck I could have gotten to force to go first. They're going to go ahead, and I really don't have any hand traps, so they're going to be able to do as much as they are really able to. Fenrir is going to go ahead and grab the Fenrir. They're going to go into the level 8, they're going to go ahead and reborn, then go into the level 10. They're going to set the set rotation, and that's really going to be it. From here, I have really a really good hand here. I'm going to go ahead and get the Tidal out. Discarding our Dragoons. Dragoons is going to go ahead and get our starter. We're going to Deep Sea Diva. Deep Sea Diva is going to grab us Atlantean Prince. They're going to try to destroy that. I do use the Call by the Grave on the Fenrir they discarded, and from here I have no opposition, so I'm just going to go off. We're going to go ahead and search the Moon Glacia. We're going to go into Coral Enemy, leaving the level 2 on the field. We're going to pitch a couple cards from hand, go into Sprint. Sprint's going to send the Angler. Angler's going to grab a couple of guys. Then we're going to go into Ahashima. Ahashima's going to grab our Dragoons back from hand. And the Graveyard, I'm feeling so good right now. We still need to find a way over this 3k booty, and I have just the way I want to do that. We're going to Ogopogo. It's going to actually pitch our Nibiru, special summon it. Then we're going to get our Hope Harbinger out. We're going to Dragon Ruler here, get it out, and we're going to go into Deep Sea Aria, just grabbing a Minstrel for next turn. We go into Gigantic Sprite, with Gigantic Sprite to go ahead into Sentry. Then we're going to Sentry to go ahead and actually get our cards. I go into SB Little Knight trying to banish this Synchro, but I selected the wrong one. In reality, I really should have just attacked with the Gigantic Sprite. That was fully my mistake, but oh well. They get the Infib, they try to activate their field spell. I am going to Hope Harbinger and suck that up. They do have the set rotation, they're going to set the scales, but when they activate it, I do have the Toad. So all they can really do is set their Infib and pass. Toad's going to put himself back in the deck. They're going to attack over the SP Little Knight, which is actually pretty fine. Tidal's going to come back to our hands, and we are ready to go. From here, we're going to Bahamut Shark. They're going to Infib, but we have the set crosser designated from before, calling the Infib, banishing our one copy from the deck, stopping that, and allowing Toad to resurface on the field. That's fine. I really just wanted to get into Abyss Megalo, because Abyss Megalo can go ahead and search out the field spell, and we're also going to go ahead and destroy their card on the field. We're going to get Mizuchi, equip it to him, and it's already gained 10 times over, but we're going to give him an extra attack. We attack for 32, declare an attack. Oh, but I can negate that. And 3,000. Totally Awesome's going to grab the Abyssus as I show lethal. And that was the deck. I love Mermails. Although it's more accurate to call it Atlantean Mermails or even just water, I still call it just Mermails because that's how I've known this deck for so long. And this deck feels good. I really like how I have my ratios here. I spent a few days really just fiddling with this, using the calculator to find probabilities, and as we have the deck currently built, there's just over a 60% chance that we are going to be able to get into our Deep Sea Diva by either drawing it directly, having one of our discard enablers and Dragoons, or Aria, and be able to search it from the deck that way. Not to mention our 7 anti-hand trap cards, and this makes this deck pretty consistent. Of course, not all hands are winners. That Fire King replay really showed a kind of cloggy hand that I was only able to kind of get out of because I had the Angler, but outside of that, it basically would have been an unplayable hand. As you can probably tell with us having 7 anti-hand trap cards, including triple Crossout Designator, this deck really doesn't like getting interrupted. Now, one really well-timed hand trap can destroy the deck. There are ways to play around certain bits of interruption, as you saw during that first Tenpai game, and I'm really happy with where my build is now. If you've made it this far into the video, I want to thank you so much for watching. And please, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, critiques about this deck, please leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to hear from you. But with that, as always, like if you like, subscribe if you want to see more. I am Nopenguin, Water Worshipper, signing out.